What were the Townshend Acts and how did they compare to the Stamp Act? Have you ever wondered how laws can shape societies and spark movements? Today, we will look at two important laws from history, the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts. These laws played a key role in the relationship between the British government and the American colonies. First, let's talk about the Stamp Act. This law was passed in 1765 and marked the first direct tax imposed by the British Parliament on the American colonies. It required colonists to pay a tax on printed materials. This included newspapers, legal documents, and even playing cards. The British government aimed to raise money to help pay off debts from the 7 Years' War. However, this act caused a huge uproar among the colonists. They argued that they had no representation in Parliament, so they should not be taxed without their consent. The phrase, "no taxation without representation," became a rallying cry for protests and boycotts. Now let's shift our focus to the Townshend Acts. Introduced in 1767 by Charles Townshend, these acts were a response to the backlash against the Stamp Act. Unlike the Stamp Act, the Townshend Acts imposed indirect taxes on imported goods. These included items like glass, lead, paints, paper, and tea. The British government thought that these indirect taxes would be more acceptable to the colonists. However, the colonists still viewed these taxes as an infringement on their rights. They felt that they were being taxed without proper representation. When we compare the two acts, we see some key differences. The Stamp Act was a direct tax, while the Townshend Acts were indirect taxes. Both acts aimed to raise revenue, but they did so in different ways. The response from the colonists also varied. The Stamp Act led to widespread protests and boycotts, while the Townshend Acts sparked debates and eventually more violent confrontations, including the Boston Massacre. Both acts contributed to the growing divide between patriots and loyalists in the colonies. They fueled the argument for independence, as colonists felt their rights were being violated by a distant government. From an anthropological perspective, these laws highlight the cultural and political tensions of the time. They show how taxation policies can influence social dynamics and political identity. The resistance to these acts became a catalyst for broader social movements, including the push for representation and independence. In summary, the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts were significant in shaping the relationship between the British government and the American colonies. They illustrate how laws can impact societal evolution and the development of legal systems. Understanding these acts helps us see how economic policies can lead to social movements and the formation of a distinct American identity.